Hello and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. In this video I'm going to do another update on my chili plants. The last update I did was back in September and I cut this one back really hard, and this one was just covered in flowers ready for another crop. So it's now the middle of November and the crop did really well on this chili. I got a lot of chilies off it. In fact, I had so many that some of these chilies are actually drying up because I haven't been able to eat them quickly enough. Wasn't quite as many chilies as one a day, but wasn't too far off. There's probably about 4 or 5 chilies a week, most likely. And it's still continuing on from that flowering session. There's still a lot of chilies you can see here. Some really quite young ones still coming on, but also we've got some slightly more mature ones. So they're all at different stages at the moment, and they're all following through quite well. So that's still continuing nicely. Now it will slow down quite a bit because it's getting really dark now. Sun sets, well, it's almost completely dark but now by 4 o'clock, and the sunrise is probably about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, so there's not a lot of light, and even when the sun is here it's quite dull and we've had a lot of clouds, so it's struggling a bit now, but it's done well. You can also see it's quite big, so what I'll probably be doing in a few months time is cutting it back and getting it ready for winter. And you can also see the leaves are starting to get quite tired because these are the same leaves it's had now for over a year. Or maybe not quite over a year, but probably about 10 months actually. So you can see there's a bit of mottling in the leaves, no longer a constant green colour. The newer leaves, they're still a nice healthy a green colour to them, because they haven't got too old yet, but certainly these older ones are starting to really show their age, and so they need replaced. So to encourage them to replace it, I'll cut them back hard. And I need to do something with this later on in this video because it's getting a lot of salt residue from all the feeding that I've been doing. But the other one I want to talk about is my habanero chili here, which, as you can see, is looking really healthy now. In the last video you saw me cut it back really hard because it wasn't doing well. It was getting quite big, but it just wasn't growing any more leaves, and the leaves that it did have were just kind of drying up and going brown and dying. So I've cut it hard and it's really encouraged it to grow lots of healthy new shoots. It's got a good lot of leaves again. Nice spacing on the branches as well. See the new stem growth there. I've cut it. Let's get that in focus so you can see better. So you can see I've cut that there, and it's grown nice 2 long strong shoots out already. Same on this one as well. And it has actually been forming a few flower buds, but most of them have been dropping off, and to be honest I'm not expecting it to form any fruits in the winter because it won't be the right time of year for it. So I'm gonna keep this. It's now on a sunnier window than it used to be. It's on a south facing window. Normally it's on a north facing window, but it needs the extra light. So I'll see how it does. Hopefully it will do quite well. There's still 1 or 2 leaves which are going a bit brown, but generally most of the leaves are okay. This doesn't seem to be any issue with the leaf drop like it did in the past, but probably it will go into its old phase where it drops the leaves every now and again. So I'll see what happens with that. But hopefully that'll do well, and I'll give you an update later on. Should put on a little bit of growth over winter, even though it's quite dark. So as I was saying, with this one there's a lot of salt residue building up. That's just because I've been feeding it lots to make it grow fast and make it have a really big crop. And the downside of feeding it all the time is you get a lot of salt building up in the compost. So there's a couple of things you need to do. And you can see there's telltale signs of salt build up down here. You can see there's quite a crust starting to build now around the holes in the pots. Just around there. Bottom of the compost is also white with salt residue, and parts of the top of the compost as well. So I'm going to take it out of its pot for this, have a look at the roots, see how they're doing. Now I haven't watered it for a while, so it should be quite dry. So you can see here there's quite a lot of salt in the upper half of the compost, and around the holes there's a lot of salt. So I'm just going to brush them off. Brush off any other visible salt crystals that I can see. I'm also going to remove the top layer of the compost because there's a lot of dead flowers, and there's a lot of salt on the top of the compost as well, so that's not of any use. I'll brush that off. I don't think I'll need to add any new compost at this stage because it's just taking a bit of the old off. And as I said, I've kept it quite dry, and the reason for that is what I'm going to do is I'm going to flush loads of water through this pot and completely rinse out all the salts, and so that the plant doesn't have any more salt in its compost. Now if I had done this whilst the compost was quite damp, it would have soaked up all that water and it would get too wet and might have had root rot. If I do it whilst it's dry, if you have compost that's very dry, it's less likely to soak up the water. It's more like the water will just run straight through, so it shouldn't get as wet. But also, because it's quite a dry, the plant's feeling a bit limp now. If it does wet the compost, it'll quickly dry out again because the plant will quickly suck up that water to restore the water in its leaves and its stems. So I'll do that now. Probably won't video it, to be honest, because it's very simple. I'm basically just going to hold it under the tap, let water flow through for about a minute, and then that'll be it. So that's all for now for my 2 chilli plants. I don't think this one has any real salt issues, but I haven't been feeding this one much because it hasn't been growing enough to be fed properly. The roots at the bottom are quite healthy as well. Generally it's not doing a lot, but that's because it's been pruned hard. The roots will start growing once the top half has grown out a bit more. So I'll give you guys an update. The next one will probably be maybe January time. I'll probably be getting rid of the last of the chilies on this because it should be finished with cropping. I'll probably be pruning this one hard, getting it ready to overwinter it properly, and hopefully this one will be putting on a nice bit of growth again. So that's all for my chili update, and I'll hopefully do one on my chilies again in a few months' time.